Hello everyone and welcome back to Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, where Athena's about to take the stand. Thank you for letting me do this, Prosecutor Edgeworth. We're going to figure out there's going to be a hole in here somewhere. And thank you, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Blackwell, for letting the truth be known. Now we can finally move forward, and everyone's suffering can come to an end. So, here's one thing though, is that we know the killer from 7 years ago is the same one today, so... But she doesn't really have an alibi for this one. I don't know, I think... Alright, whatever, we just gotta go. Athena.
Prosecutor Blackwell will be cleared and the dark age of the law can come to an end. Yes, admit your guilt and bring everything to its conclusion.
I killed my mother. My memory is still a little hazy, but there's no question I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands, and the feeling of it stabbing in deep. Okay. So here's one thing that kind of bothered me. That's kind of a big sword for an 11-year-old. And I remember the warmth of her blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. Oh, that bothers me even more. The victim's blood was found only on the blade. That wasn't the murder weapon. That's been bothering me. I didn't want to raise the issue yet because it didn't seem like it mattered. Your Honor, please find me guilty.
I dare say that these are all memories that no one but the murderer would have.
No.
I see. Thank you for your confession. I believe this trial has gone on long enough. So I'm not a fan of this sunroof thing we have going on. But before we conclude, does anyone have a counter-argument?
Yes. Me. Ooh.
Objection!
Yeah, there we go. I do, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright?
But Mr. Wright, why? I killed her. I remember it now. Any counter-argument now is pointless. Nope. Don't tell me you've forgotten one of the basic tenets of lawyering. Always believe in the client to the bitter end. Athena, you are not a murderer.
I said that you never changed, but could you have actually regressed in these 8 years? I won't stand for your childish emotionalism getting in the way of the truth.
Emotionalism? Don't lecture me on the matters of the heart, Edgeworth. Because I can see straight into a person's soul. Ah! I knew we were going to have to deal with that sooner or later. I did a little research. I looked into those special psych locks you mentioned, Mr. Nick. Athena isn't trying to keep anything from you on purpose. For some reason, part of her heart and her memories are sealed off, even from herself. There's still a chance, somewhere deep in Athena's heart, there might still be a memory that not even she knows about yet. It might be like looking for a grain of sand somewhere in the cosmos. But still, the memory might contain a new fact that could prove her innocence.
I hope for everyone's sake you are not just bluffing, Mr. Wright.
No, I have something.
Now then, is there not a problem with Miss Sykes' confession?
There is. My memory's still a little hazy. Can she just give her testimony? I remember it. I remember the weight of the weapon in my hands. Alright, so 2 hands. And the feeling of it stabbing in deep. Okay. And remember the warmth of the blood as it flowed down the handle onto my fingers. Okay. That's it. There's definitely something wrong with her memory of the event. I can just tell.
If there's a problem with her confession, please prove it to this court now.
Take that!
Isn't that the katana the defendant used to kill the victim, Mr. Wright?
I respectfully and vehemently disagree, Your Honor. I remember it. I remember holding the weapon and getting blood on my fingers. That's exactly my point. If blood really did get on your fingers while you were holding it, there should be blood on the handle. But please focus on the handle of this sword. There's not a trace of blood on it. And therefore, this is clearly a contradiction of the facts. You're right.
Oh my!
Objection!
The defendant must have simply confused a portion of her memories. She mentioned it was hazy to begin with, and we can't mull over every minor detail.
Objection!
kind of a big detail, though. But she also said there's no question I remember it, a fact we can't ignore.
In that case, why don't you explain what this contradiction with her memories means?
Gladly. Just give me a sec to think of something. I want to say that Athena didn't stab anyone, but she said it herself that she remembers the feeling of committing the act. Think, Phoenix, think. What could the contradiction with Athena's memories mean? The blood was wiped off. The defendant used a different weapon. Miss Sykes said blood flowed down the handle, but the katana's handle is spotless. So, doesn't it follow that the defendant must have used a weapon other than the katana?
What are you up to this time?
I don't know. This is it. This time I found just the thing to end Athena's nightmare for good. The weapon that took Dr. Sykes' life was the katana, that much is for sure. So if I can show a possibility that Athena didn't use the katana, it could help me prove her innocence.
Different weapon, you say? What weapon would that be exactly?
Oh, right, of course he would ask that.
I can see you're floundering, Mr. Wright. Did you speak without thinking again, as always?
How does he do that? But I can't back down. Not here, not now. We only have one weapon in our possession. That's right. I did, because it's so obvious it doesn't require any thought.
What did you say?
Okay, so maybe that was an exaggeration, but there has to be something. Was there some other bladed weapon in the robotics lab that day? Maybe there's something in one of the crime scene photos? One of those kits. Wait a minute. There is something. There's a high probability that that was used in the lab. I don't have any particular weapon here in evidence right now, but I do have a piece of evidence just like it. Other than the katana, this is another blade that may have been at the crime scene. I thought it was going to be the exact same one, but...
But that's the murder weapon in the clay terrain case.
Yes, this is the knife that took Mr. Terrain's life, but there must have been a knife just like it at this crime scene 7 years ago as well. Toolkits containing utility knives like this one are issued to Space Center employees, and a robotics lab especially would naturally have one of these around. What? Get out of here.
But besides the katana, no other bladed weapon was found at the site. It was in the investigation report if you didn't know.
Of course I knew that. Once you told me just now.
And then here's something else you already knew. There was a toolkit at the scene, but it didn't contain any blades. Here's a photo of its contents.
'Cause it was removed.
You're right, I don't see any kind of bladed tool.
Fine, but isn't there something odd about the design of these handles? Yeah. G. Yeah.
Therefore, there was no other bladed weapon in the room.
I disagree. This toolkit contained a knife.
What proof do you have of that?
Don't tell me your eye for art is failing you too, Mr. Edgeworth.
You're the last person in the world who should be criticizing my aesthetic sense.
No, he's simply watching out for your ocular health. But please proceed, Mr. Wright.
Notice that the handles of each of these tools have a sort of design on them.
I see that they do, but what significance does that have?
It's clear that one of the tools is missing from this kit. If we rearrange the tools into a specific pattern, we might be able to tell which part of the overall design is missing.
Is that the theory your pitiful sense of aesthetic helped you come up with?
Edgeworth, just let it go, man.
Show the court then, if you would. What pattern or design would we see if we were to arrange the tools?
Do we have a... Where is it? Oh, I just looked at that coat. Did I know about that already? There's a cut in it? Oh, there it is. There it is. Right there on the logo on the case. Where can I... Can't see it there. Ooh, that That one! That one! Am I, really?
Take that!
What design is this supposed to represent?
The Gaiaxa logo, Your Honor. It's on all of the Space Center documents and pamphlets. As you're aware, Gaiaxa is the program that operates the Cosmos Space Center. Look how brightly the Gaiaxa glow shines. Really dig the stars and rocket motif it's got going. And spectral, yep.
I think I see it now, but
Yes, with just the tools shown in this photo, the red A part of the logo is missing. And this is where the murder weapon from the terrain case comes into play. If we were to place the utility knife in the open slot, ta-da! It would complete the Gaiaxa logo.
so it would. That means...
Admit it, Mr. Edgeworth, my aesthetic sense is keener than yours, and while you're at it, admit that the weapon Miss Sykes used could have been this one. I don't know if that helps.
Order in the court.
Miss Sykes confessed to having a memory of stabbing the victim. Admittedly, Miss Sykes most likely did stab someone using the utility knife. However, the weapon used to kill Dr. Sykes was the katana. Therefore, the act of stabbing that Miss Sykes remembers couldn't be that of Dr. Sykes. Ooh, he's not happy.
Very well, let's suppose for a minute that Miss Sykes did use a utility knife. Tell me, how does that change anything?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Come again?
What if the katana was only being used as a decoy to conceal the true murder weapon? What if the real weapon that took the victim's life was the utility knife?
Nope, don't be ridiculous, or are you changing the premise of your entire argument?
I'm merely offering a hypothetical situation derived from your logic. Miss Sykes could have put blood on the katana to make it look like the murder weapon, and then concealed the knife on her personage until Blackwell carried her away.
That does clear up the contradiction between Miss Sykes' memories and the evidence.
If in fact the murder weapon is a utility knife, then fate has dealt you a cruel hand, for you have just proven the knife's existence to the rest of us with your own logic.
The prosecution is attempting to lead the court.
You're the one attempting to lead the court, Mr. Wright, by forcing us to forget the facts of this case. Need I remind you that there were only 2 people in the lab at the time of the murder, and that the defendant herself recalls stabbing someone with her own hands.
No.
Matters not whether the murder weapon was a katana or a utility knife, as long as we know that the victim and the defendant were the only ones there. You cannot escape the fact that it was Athena Sykes who killed her own mother.
I don't believe it. Why? Why does this keep happening? Every time I find a contradiction, it vanishes and the suspicion keeps coming back. It's almost as if...
Now you're finally starting to get it.
No.
Your contradictions keep vanishing because the charge is true.
No, the opposite.
And the suspicion keeps coming back to the defendant because that's where it belongs. Phoenix Wright, when will you open your eyes and accept the truth?
When we reach the truth. Ugh. Ah! Come on. We got this. No. Ugh. I don't want to believe it. It can't be true. Ugh. What if? No.
Dr. Wright, you fought a good fight. I think you've done all you can do.
No. Is giving up really the only option? No. Snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you? Giving in to doubt. I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. No, Your Honor, not yet. It isn't over yet.
Right.
I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I'll always believe in her. To the very end. A defense lawyer never gives up on his client. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case thoroughly. Ooh, what do we got? I can see the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with a utility knife. This must have been what Ponko witnessed as Athena's hug. But Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. This means that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. Who could have taken the knife from the lab? Someone else? A third person was at the scene. If I trust Athena, then I have to conclude there was a third person at the scene. But according to Ponko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only two there. So then how did this third person manage to escape Ponko's detection? I know, this person must have fooled Ponko's facial recognition feature by covering their own face. But wait a minute, Ponko has a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Ponko would have still detected their presence, but she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. That's it. The culprit could have covered their face and posed as which person to avoid detection. There we go. If the culprit posed as the victim, that would explain why Ponko thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Ponko's basic recognition features. Who would know that much about this, though? Jacket, which was at the scene. The culprit could have posed as the victim by wearing her jacket with an ID tag on it. That still leaves the heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It wouldn't have worked if Ponko could detect the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. Does that mean the real Dr. Sykes was already dead by this time? If that's the case, then who did Athena stab? The real culprit! Athena stabbed the real culprit. That's why that person fell down. That's it. The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her. The real culprit.
Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let us bring this to a swift end.
Nope.
Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to the hostage negotiations.
You're absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby...
I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second because I realized something so shocking I had to take a break to digest it. But now I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent. But Ponko saw me. She witnessed the moment of the crime. Yes, Ponko did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you use the utility knife. Then who did she stab? But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother.
What are you saying, Mr. Wright?
The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person posing as Dr. Sykes.
What?
Objection!
Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot's statements, there was no third person there. Do you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab for time?
Oh, no, we got this. After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence?
Huh, you make that pose all the time regardless of the facts.
Clonko's strange malfunction. Mr. Terrain, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay? Mr. Terrain, but that's Apollo you're talking to. This hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo is possessed by Clay's ghost. Nope, it's because Apollo is wearing Clay's jacket. That was another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag. All because Clonko couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that eye patch. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask could nullify the robot's facial recognition, and then all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her.
Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them.
I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid, because by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating.
What?
So does that mean?
Yes, Your Honor. The person Miss Sykes stabbed. This third person who is posing as Dr. Sykes is her mother's real killer.
But that's... impossible.
Got him. Okay. A mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask?
Order in the court. Miss Sykes, did you say something?
A mask? Yes, I remember. Athena. What is it? Did we break one? Did we break one? I remember a man with a mask. How could he... What did he do to my mother? My head.
Miss Sykes, are you alright?
No! Did we break one? The Black Cyclops. They're breaking. Oh, they're all breaking. Okay. Ooh, didn't we want to be careful? I thought we would, like, break one at a time. This seems like a very bad idea. This, I don't like. Oh, boy. All right, time to call it up. So if we broke Athena in the next one. It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened the day my mother was murdered. Ooh, I do want to call it an episode because I want to save this. But we did a short one last time, so I won't do too short this time. They're gone. The Black Cyclops are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's all right, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day. I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mom. I opened the door, and then... It's all right. I'm here. You're safe, Athena. She was on the floor by the workbench with a katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there.
Man?
Quiet, Your Honor. Ooh. Phoenix getting serious. Go on, Athena. He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there and... He dodged it first, so I only got his clothes. But I tried again. And this time you got him, didn't you? I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Then he kicked me and I passed out. Okay. When I came to, my mom wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. So I had Ponko. So I asked, or Ponko. I asked Ponko to move her to the operating table. I had that right too. Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her. Also true. Okay. So that's what Blackwell walked in on. So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived. A man who covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit.
Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was?
No, I'm afraid I don't. A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything else about that? Yes, the mask. It was my mom's Japanese theater mask. I think it was the one hanging on the wall of the lab.
No, this mask hanging here on the wall.
It was kind of spooky, that mask. My mom used to tell me that a no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom. Blackwell's been chasing a phantom. Right, isn't that the phrase?
It would seem that a new suspect has emerged, and that means that all suspicion against Miss Sykes is...
Wait, what? You see, this is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Athena Sykes is the murderer. I won't accept any other verdict. Miss Blackwell? This is not good. A new suspect. Where's the proof this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't all just a dream in the little princess's groggy little head? Ugh. She's right. We don't have any hard evidence of the masked man's existence. Thank you, Mr. Wright. I'll never be able to repay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now, because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Athena, I'm so glad for you. More and more memories are coming back now. So I'd like to say one thing if I could. Ponko came to the robotics lab around 2 p.m. to recharge. Okay, yeah. About to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. I see where you're going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise. Right, then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 p.m. Do I have anything in here? The evidence? That can help me find the person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.? What? Cat 1 exhibit. Yeah, see, there's a stab wound. So that was from the knife. Wait. But then that goes back to Blackwell. That's it, right? Corner of the crime scene. Yeah. No, because can we look back further? Because we looked at Blackwell because we thought the crime took place after at 2 p.m. or after 2 p.m. So we would just need to look at who came in before. Can we do that?
Take that!
This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident at around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by there before then?
I don't see anything in the investigation report. It looks like they didn't check.
Right. They wouldn't. Just as I thought. So if we rewind the footage and go back to around 2 p.m., we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene.
Very well then, let's take a look.
Oh, crap. This isn't going to help, is it? There, please stop it right there. Aha!
It's just like you said, there's a man leaving the crime scene.
Miss Sykes, do you remember this person? That's him, I'm sure of it. He's wearing my mother's jacket. Yeah. I did, but what I really wanted to see was her jacket. That jacket on display, that was Dr. Sykes. Can you see it? There's the slash I made with the utility knife that day. And I'm sure that knife is under that jacket somewhere.
So then everything Miss Sykes said...
Exactly. It proves that Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Dr. Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab before 2 p.m. He killed her and hid her face with a handkerchief. Then he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and mask that were in the lab. The culprit probably knew beforehand that Ponko charged up at 2 p.m. every day. So he waited for Ponko to come to the lab for her regular recharge. By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit tricked Ponko into thinking he was Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like she was alive up to that point in time. All to disguise the real time of death. What?
It's a nice theory, Mr. Wright, but I'm afraid that's just not possible.
Well, what? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in this video.
That right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket at the scene confirms beyond a doubt that it belonged to the victim. If the person who left the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket, then how could it possibly have wound up back at the crime scene?
What's going on? That doesn't make sense. Edgeworth's right. If the culprit was wearing the jacket, how did it get back there? The killer brought it back, the victim brought it back, the defendant brought it back. The killer brought it back. To avoid suspicion. killer used the jacket as a disguise to make his escape. Oh, I guess we're going long. But in order to conceal that fact, he had to get the jacket back to the crime scene. So the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradiction resolved.
Except that it would have been impossible. The only people who came to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackwell and the people who reported the body. And they claimed that the jacket was there when they arrived. So, when do you propose this mysterious man of yours had the chance to return the jacket?
A puzzling question indeed.
When did the culprit have the chance to bring the jacket back? When the body was found. The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket was when the body was found.
Mr. Wright, do you realize the implication of that argument?
I do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focus their attention on the body. The culprit could have taken advantage of that split second to plant the jacket. In other words, the true culprit of this case, the man known as the Phantom, was one of the first people to discover the body.
I would never have thought of that.
Got it. All right, cool.
Order in the court. What is the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth?
And we'll find out about the meaning of this in the next episode. Okay. All right, so at least we proved the existence of another person. So now we just have to figure out who that person is. I have no idea. I'm back to... Would Candace... Like, how long has she been at this, right? Well, that wouldn't make any sense either, because she was dead at the second crime scene. I don't know. We'll just have to work through it in the next episode. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.